Today's lesson is about the most, probably not the most, but a very highly contested issue among more rookie bass guitarists and to some extent some more veteran players. The pick. Now, one of the biggest arguments is the benefits of using your fingers as opposed to using a pick. Now, the last couple of videos I've shown you a whole myriad of things that you can do with your fingers, and I'm not done talking about all the things you can do with your fingers. And there are people out there who say, well, you don't play bass with a pick, you play it with your fingers. Well, I got news for you. This is the bass you don't play with a pick. This is the bass that you see all the old school jazz bassists use. This is the bass that you see in a lot of early rock and roll. That is the bass that is something you don't play with a pick. You play with your fingers because that's how the damn thing was designed. The bass guitar, on the other hand, was modeled after the guitar. Alright, now, the other counter-argument I propose to those people is that the bass guitar is modeled after the guitar. There are finger-style guitar players. John Mayer, Mark Knopfler, Jeff Beck, just to name three. And they are three of the bigger names, if not the biggest names in guitar right now. Oh, so why not keep your options open by learning how to use a pick? Now, there is a technique to using a pick, because like with playing fingerstyle, there are positionings and ways that you hold your hand against the bass that are going to cause you to cramp up, that are going to cause you to slow up as a player, slow up playing live, and just flub the bass line. Now, predominantly, when you're playing with a pick, you have it between your thumb and any one of these four fingers. I tend to favor sandwiching it between my thumb and my index finger. A friend of mine, Pat Young, who is a guitarist and a wonderful guitarist, plays with it sandwiched between his thumb and middle finger. Position it between whichever finger you want, and you don't have to position it like this. There's another friend of mine who is a bassist who plays with a pick, Larry Chapone, plays with the pick like this, sideways. I've seen pictures of the bassist to Hatebreed play it with the big flat end striking the string. So it doesn't matter how you hold the pick, what position you hold the pick in, which fingers you hold the pick in, just put it somewhere that makes sense for you. Oh, and you don't want to grip it too hard. You don't want to clench it, because then your entire hand, through your wrist is going to just cramp up and atrophy, and you're going to feel it throughout the rest of your arm. Trust me, I've been there. I tell you this because these are problems that I've had to overcome as a player. So, you want to hold it, but have it rest. Have enough, a light amount of pressure between whichever fingers you're holding the pick in between so that it won't slip. And the last part is you want to hold it as flush against the string as possible. Oh, you can have the pick go across the string thinwise, but you want it to hit the flat end. It's just going to sound the smoothest, it's going to play the cleanest, and you're not going to get that kind of sound. Of course, you can do pick slides, which you have the thin part just raking against all the ridges of the string. And now, why would I tell you to play with a pick when I've been teaching you so much about playing with your fingers? Well, because there are things that the pick can do, sounds that the pick can emulate that your fingers can't. And you can try, but it's easier on you to just learn how to play with a pick. It's another tool in your arsenal. Oh, if you're playing faster parts, more intricate parts, you can just rest your palm against the strings lightly, called palm muting, and use a pick. You'll be able to make the attacks crisper, cleaner, and because you're palm muting, the strings won't ring out like they would if you're using your fingers. Because if you were using your fingers, you'd have to mute with your left hand, which is a technique I will get into later. There are also just grooves that sound better when you're using a pick and just downstroking. Meaning, if this is the bass, if I'm holding the bass like this, I'm basically striking the pick against the string so the pick is going down toward the floor. Alternate picking, go down, up, down, up, down, up against one string. And there are people who will say, if you're doing a session, I need you to use a pick because I like the sound of a pick. There are a whole bunch of different picks out there. These tend to be considered floppy picks because they will flop around inside in your hand. There are picks that will not move when you strike the string. And picks come in different shapes and sizes. There are the teeny weeny little jazz picks. And there are these giant triangle picks. There are these wonderful blue picks. And they all come in different sizes. You just gotta look on the pick. I tend to favor Fender picks. This big triangle reads medium on it. This blue pick reads medium on it. The writing has worn off of this Fender pick here, but this was an extra heavy. I tend to favor medium to extra heavy picks just because I like it. That's how the weight, just how it feels in my hand feels right. Using picks is like finding a bass. The bass will come to you. The pick will come to you. The type of pick that you will use for the rest of your playing career. Next video, we'll get back into talking about fingerstyle techniques and maybe delve into some feng shui hybrid picking techniques that you see Emma Anzai from the Sick Puppies use in her bass playing.